You're listening to The Sports Moment. January 25th, 2024. Part of the Sports Moments and Memories with Craig Olson podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a sports moment. Sponsored by Pemberton Law and Lake Area Docks and Lifts.
A couple of good college basketball games to review from last night as M State hosted St. Cloud. Welcome to the podcast. Hey, the Lady Spartans got a win. It was a tough one, but they led from wire to wire, actually. Had a 15-point lead at one time in the first half, and they led by 6 points at halftime. But then St. Cloud wound up with an opportunity. A couple of times they pulled it within a point, but they never could get the lead. Spartans held them off and get the win 62-56 on a night where sophomore guard Jayna Gronewold became the third all-time leading scorer for M State. She passed her former high school coach, actually, Anita Fallingstead Higher, and moved into third place, and she's only 2 points out of second place, where Lori Rickert, the former Otter, is established as the second all-time leading scorer with 990 points. Now, Jayna averages about 20 points a game, so she won't have any trouble getting past Lori next week, and she may become the all-time scoring leader on Wednesday when the Spartans host Minnesota West, because she's only 18 points from accomplishing that feat, as Pam Letting has the record with 1,006 points, the Underwood grad back in the early 80s, setting that mark, the only player in Spartan history to score over 1,000 points. And by this time next week, we may have a new all-time scoring leader in Jayna Gronewold. So lots of excitement there on the court last night, and a good win for the Lady Spartans. Jayna had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 6 steals in the game last night. Maddie Foss pulled down 9 rebounds. And a good night for Mia Blaskowski. Mia, in 9 minutes, made 2 out of 3 field goals for 4 points and grabbed 5 rebounds. Had some real quality minutes. And her high school teammate from last year's state tournament team in Underwood, Mo Bugby, had a complete game last night, too. She had 11 points on 5 of 8 shooting, grabbed 5 rebounds, dished out 4 assists, and had 3 steals. And Itzel Salazar dished out 5 assists last night. So it was a great team effort for the Lady Spartans, who got the victory and really solidified their hold on that number 4 spot in the MCAC Southern Division. The top 4 teams in each half of the conference make it to state, so the Spartans are in a good position there. Spartan men are going to have some work to do the second half of the season. They fell to 3-4 in the conference as they lost a tight one last night. Turnovers really hurt M State last night. They turned it over 20 times, and those turnovers led to 19 points, and St. Cloud won the game 69-64. Spartans had some good performances out there, though. Javen Tyndall had 24 points in the game to go along with 7 rebounds and 3 steals, and they hit the boards pretty well, too. Kamani Steckler had 10 rebounds. Tyson MacArthur had 9, and he also had 6 assists in the game. And the Spartans were real dominant on the boards, 48-34 advantage in rebounding. But again, the turnovers really hurt in that 69-64 loss at M State. Well, one of our sponsors, of course, on the podcast is Lake Area Docks and Lifts. They're going to be at the Fargo Dome Boat Show this weekend, so be sure to check out their boat show booth at the Fargo Dome over the weekend as you get ready for spring and summer. Can't wait, right? Kind of feels like spring right now with the melting that's been going on. Lake Area Docks and Lifts, serving you from 5 locations through Lakes area. Tonight is the final home duel of the season for the Otter boys swimming and diving team. They had a great win the other night against St. Cloud Tech Cathedral Rocori Becker as they wound up winning by 1 point, and it went down to the last event. But tonight, Sauk Rapids Rice is coming into town. I caught up with head coach Randy Hansen and talked about senior night tonight, and he gave us a little review of that pretty exciting win the other night at the Kennedy Pool.
It's a special night tonight at the Kennedy Pool as the Otter swimming and diving team is going to hold their senior night hosting the Sauk Rapids. We have Randy Hansen joining us on the podcast, and always special, Randy, to honor your seniors.
Yeah, that's really important. They've been with the program, most likely from middle school, and and they've put in countless hours in the pool and have just developed into leaders and great young guys, and and we just want to give them a special night and send say thank you, give them a couple gifts, and tell them how much we appreciate them.
So tell us about your seniors.
Yeah, so Logan Rott's been swimming, summer flyers for, forever. So he's been involved in the swim program, and it's just been, I think I refer to him as Mr. Versatile. We can put him in all sorts of different events. He never complains. He's always, I'll do whatever you need me to do, coach. And serving as a captain this year too has really been, a great vocal leader, not being afraid to tell. We got a number of younger guys, some newer swimmers, telling them, not in a mean way, but just, hey, you got to do this, quit screwing around, and so they really listen to what he has to say. So that's been kind of nice to see him develop. And so, our other captain, Adrian Blondeau, as a sophomore, he swam with us, had a pretty good year, wasn't sure he was going to come out as a junior, kind of twisted his arm a little bit, had a really good year last year, and it still has just been a steady Eddie for us in that 50 and 100 free. Has done some backstroke, and I said that he has out-touched. He's got some really long arms and has out-touched a number of guys just by a little bit. And case in point was our meet the other night, and so that's been really fun. He's really fast and sleek in the water. And Mason Braum didn't come out last year, but he was out as a younger swimmer and took a year off, and now he's back this year. And it just has such a great attitude, and just one of the things I've loved about this year is just how excited he gets every time he has a PR. It's just been all smiles, wants to do, I'll swim the 500, I'll do the 200, and just anything we ask of him. Has really been, it's been really important because he's scored some really necessary points. And then Will Nuss has been our diver. We don't have very many divers. He's kind of been our guy, and he is also has done a little bit of swimming over the years. Is doing a little bit more this year, but it's just been ticking away in those dives a little bit by little bit with Coach Jarvie, and he that's necessary points too, and so that's going to be a hard thing to pass up next year. A hard thing to replace anyway.
Let's for a minute revisit your last meet Tuesday night and recap, if you would, that final event that led you to victory. You beat Tech, Cathedral, or Corey Becker, all four of them, 93-92 in what turned out to be a pretty thrilling finish.
Yeah, and one thing I regret not writing about when I sent in the comments was, the Tech swimmer Micah Davis broke 3 pool records in the process as well. So that's something you don't ever see. He broke the 100 fly record that's been around since '85. He broke a 50 free because he led off the 200 free relay. That was a kid from Minot back in the 90s. And then he broke the 200 free record from Mike Hurley. I think that was 2009. So all three, and he barely missed Mike Hurley's 100 free record in the pool by, I think, like half a second. So that's not something you normally see either. That kid is just something special. So that was fun. But yeah, I was kind of recapping a little bit this morning and just thinking about how close we were to not winning. Our medley relay only won by 0.45 seconds. So without that, we don't win the meet. Adrian Blondeau out-touched in the 53 to win that event by 0.01 seconds. We don't win the meet if he doesn't do that. Matthew Toole won the 500 by a second. That was important. And then, in the 400 freestyle, it came down to the last relay. We had to get, at the very minimum, second and third because it's 8 points for first, 4 points for second, 2 points for third. And so the score was 87-84 going into the last event. And of course, Gretchen Bigwood, was telling the crowd all the scores. And so everybody that pays attention knows what's going on. And so Micah Davis leads off on their first, their A relay. and he swam off like a 47.5 or something ridiculous. And so our A relay is playing catch up the whole way. Jaden Kopinski is the last guy, and he swims a 50 point, which I believe is, if it's not his fastest split ever, it's the second fastest split ever. Doesn't get it, so we missed by 0.75 seconds, so we get second. But we almost won that, so that was exciting. But then also watching, in the other lane, watching Lucas Toole hold off a tech swimmer and then eventually pass him by about the same margin, by about 0.75 seconds. And that place was just roaring. I mean, you hear it get loud sometimes, but that was, everybody knew what it came down to, that race, and it was just fantastic. And Lucas's brother Matthew was behind the block just screaming at him. It's like, oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I told the guys at the end of the meet when we talked it over, I said, you guys are giving me heart attacks here to kind of come down to something like that. But it's super exciting and a great win for the guys. And it was that last race, but it was all those other little things too that mattered. And so that was really fun.
Hey, great recap. I felt like I was there. I could see it. So you can be an announcer when your coaching days are done, okay?
Right. Yeah. That sounds good.
Okay. Randy, thanks so much. Enjoy your senior night tonight and your last home duel too, right?
Yes, it is. Yep. We go to Sartell next week, and that's it for the duel season. All
right, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Don't want to miss that final duel of the season at home tonight as the Otters take on Sauk Rapids Rice. Gets underway at 6 o'clock at the Kennedy School pool. Well, let's take a look at the scoreboard from last night in the NBA for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It turned out to be a good night. They struggled the last two games at home and just had a horrible game against Charlotte, even though Karl Anthony Towns set the all-time franchise record with 62 points in the game. The Wolves just were bad. They blew an 18-point lead against one of the worst teams in the league and got beat. Well, they avoided a three-game losing skid when they went to Washington last night and beat the Wizards 118-107. Anthony Edwards scored 38 points. Karl Anthony Towns had 27, and Rudy Gobert added 19 points and 16 rebounds in the win. Timberwolves at Brooklyn tonight, trying to put together back-to-back wins. Nashville Predators will be at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul tonight to take on the Wild. The Wild beat the Predators earlier this year. That was back in November, beat them 6-1 in their first meeting of the season. Tonight's game is a 7 o'clock start at the XL Energy Center in St. Paul. The Wild have won 3 in a row and 4 of their last 5, so they have finally started to put it together, getting people healthy, and that has made a huge difference. And Jim Harbaugh leaving the national champion Michigan Wolverines to coach the NFL's Los Angeles Chargers. Harbaugh's deal is for 5 years. He was a member of the Chargers from 1999 to 2000, was their quarterback for those 2 years. But since he went into head coaching in 2006 at the University of San Diego, Harbaugh has had collegiate success at Stanford and Michigan, and in the NFL with his 4-year stint with the San Francisco 49ers. Harbaugh has been considered among the most desirable candidates in this coaching cycle because of the success he has had in both the college and professional levels. And the odds are out for the 2 conference championship games in the NFL playoffs this weekend. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to Baltimore to take on the top-seeded Ravens, and the Ravens on their home field have been made 3.5-point favorites in that one. And the San Francisco 49ers are a touchdown favorite, 7-point favorite over the Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship game. Pemberton Law Firm is one of our sponsors on our podcast. They carry a legacy of trustworthy and reputable legal representation that dates all the way back to 1883. And they're serving you from Fergus Falls, Wadena, Detroit Lakes, and Alexandria, offices in all 4 of those locations. And you can certainly visit them anytime online at pemlaw.com. Well, thanks for joining us for the podcast today. Looking forward to a busy night on the local front, and we'll review all that for you tomorrow. See if the Timberwolves and the Wild can get it done tonight. And we'll look forward to the weekend, too, which is going to be a fun one as well. Lots going on in sports when it comes to January, February, March. there aren't too many nights that are boring, I'll tell you that. So thanks for listening. Come back again tomorrow.
You've been listening to The Sports Moment with Craig Olson. Sponsored by Pemberton Law and Lake Area Docks and Lifts. Produced by Sunroom Lab. Music by Blue Red Roses. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and thanks for listening.